Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us.
Yeah, welcome everybody.
Today, we're going to be talking about startups,
Yeah, very, very hot topic.
but more specifically, how they get funded.
Okay.
And we're actually going to be kind of flipping the script on this one.
Okay, interesting.
Because, we always hear about the challenges that startups face in securing funding.
Right, right.
But today we're going to be looking at it from the other side of the table.
Okay. I like it.
So we're diving into this article
Okay.
by Matt Wilson. He's the founder of Allied.vc.
Mm-hmm.
And he reveals a really interesting thing in this article.
Okay.
He talks about how there's this really surprising source of untapped capital,
Interesting.
like a whole group of investors who are ready and waiting
Really?
to get involved,
Okay.
but haven't really found the best way to do it yet.
They just need a little guidance.
Yeah. And we're talking about angel investing, but with a twist.
Okay.
We're looking specifically at emerging startup ecosystems.
Okay, so these are areas that, are kind of like geographically in a new area that's starting to grow or a sector that we haven't really seen a lot of innovation in yet.
Exactly. So think like, maybe a specific region that has like a burgeoning tech scene, but is not quite Silicon Valley yet.
Right.
Or like an industry that's just ripe for disruption, but nobody's really quite figured out how to do it yet.
Okay, got it.
So that's what we mean by emerging ecosystems.
Emerging ecosystems.
And that's where Matt Wilson's insights really come in.
Okay.
So he breaks down angel investors into two main groups.
Okay.
He's got the passion-focused investors,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's got the returns-focused investors.
Okay, makes sense.
So imagine you're an angel investor.
Okay.
Are you driven by just a love for this industry? Like you want to support the next big thing?
I can see that.
Or are you more just in it for the money?
Okay.
Are you looking to diversify your portfolio? Do you want to see those returns?
Yeah, so you've got your, bleeding heart investors, and then you've got the people that are really just trying to make a buck.
Yeah, and both are totally valid,
Absolutely.
but they just operate a little bit differently.
Yeah, for sure.
So the passion-focused investors, those are the ones that are already pretty active
Okay.
in the angel investing space.
Makes sense.
They're the ones that are really embedded in the industries.
Right.
They have experience. Maybe they've been founders themselves.
They get it.
They really understand
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The returns-focused group, they're much larger.
Oh, wow.
And they represent this huge, untapped opportunity
Interesting.
for these emerging ecosystems.
Yeah, because you think about it, there's a lot more people that are probably interested in making money than there are people that are like experts in a specific field.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's something that Matt Wilson really highlights in this article.
Okay.
So we've got this massive group of potential investors that are ready to kind of jump into the world of startups.
Yeah, put their money where their mouth is.
So why aren't they doing it?
Yeah, that's a great question.
That's holding them back.
Yeah.
Well, Wilson says it's not just about like educating them on how angel investing works.
Okay.
Because it's not just a simple,
Right. It's not as easy as just throwing money at a problem.
Exactly.
Okay.
Angel investing is not your typical get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
It requires a certain comfort level with risk.
Yeah, for sure.
And it requires an understanding that those big wins,
Yeah.
those might take time to come to fruition.
Yeah, you're not going to get rich overnight.
Exactly.
Oh,
So it's not just about understanding like the mechanics of angel investing.
yeah.
It's about really aligning your expectations
Right.
with the reality of the situation.
And your own risk tolerance.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's very different than, throwing your money in the stock market.
For sure. For sure.
And that's where Wilson introduces this really intriguing solution.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So instead of encouraging these returns-focused investors
Mm-hmm.
to just jump right in
Okay.
and start
Yeah.
making these individual angel investments,
Yeah.
which, let's be honest, can be very, very daunting.
Absolutely. Especially if you don't really know the space that well.
Especially in a less established ecosystem
Right.
where you don't really have those connections.
Yeah, you don't have your finger on the pulse. You're not sure who to trust.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He suggests a different approach.
Okay, what's that?
Encourage them to back emerging fund managers instead.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so instead of going directly to the startups, you're saying go to the people who are already kind of in the weeds.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's interesting. At first glance, it seems a little counterintuitive.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like you're kind of adding another layer in there.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you think about it,
Okay.
it actually makes a lot of sense.
Okay, I'm listening.
So think of it this way.
Okay.
Imagine you're at a buffet
Okay, I like where this is going.
and you're not quite sure you know what to try.
Right.
You can just like pick a few things at random,
Yeah, and hope for the best.
cross your fingers.
Right. You might get lucky, you might not.
Right, exactly. Some things might be great. Some things might be
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster at a buffet.
disaster. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you could ask the chef.
Oh, okay.
You could go to the expert.
Someone who knows what they're talking about.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Someone who knows the menu inside and out.
Right.
And say like, hey, what should I try?
Yeah, what's good? What are people ordering?
What's good? What's fresh?
Right.
What do you recommend?
Yeah, what's your favorite?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's kind of what backing an emerging fund manager is like.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with this.
Right.
So it's like they've already curated like a tasting menu for me.
Exactly.
That's
They've
fair.
done the work.
They've done the hard part.
They know what's good.
Yeah, they're in the weeds. Interesting. Okay.
So these emerging fund managers,
Yeah.
they offer that built-in expertise.
Right.
And they offer that diversification.
Okay. So they take some of the risk off the table.
Exactly. Because remember we were just talking about how these returns-focused investors,
Right. They're a little risk averse.
they are a little risk-averse.
Yeah.
And so by going through a fund manager,
Okay.
you're spreading that risk out a little bit.
Okay. That makes sense.
So these fund managers, they're immersed in the startup world.
Right.
They have their fingers on the pulse.
They know what's up.
They know exactly what's going on.
Okay.
And they're really good at identifying those promising opportunities.
Makes sense.
Plus, they probably have like a much better network, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. They're plugged in.
They are plugged in.
Yeah.
They know everybody.
They know what's going on before it hits the news.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they're probably particularly well connected
Yeah.
within these specific emerging ecosystems,
Especially those niche markets, right?
right? Like they're going to be plugged into a specific region
Right. Geographic location, whatever.
for a specific industry.
Okay.
And that gives them this really unique advantage
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
in identifying those startups
Yeah.
that maybe those traditional investors
Whoa.
haven't even heard of yet.
Yeah. They're like the diamond in the rough spotters.
Exactly.
I like it.
And this is where it gets really interesting
Okay.
for those returns-focused investors.
Okay.
Because Wilson argues
Yeah.
that this approach of backing emerging fund managers,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually more likely
Oh,
to generate those early wins,
really?
those early returns.
Interesting. Okay.
And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense
Yeah, it does.
because these fund managers are all in,
We're laser focused.
they live and breathe this stuff.
Right. Startups are their life.
And their entire job
Yeah.
is to generate returns
For their investors.
for their investors. Exactly.
Okay.
And because they're smaller and more nimble than these traditional VC firms,
Okay.
they can kind of move a little bit faster.
They can be a little bit more agile.
They can adapt
Yeah.
to changes in the market.
And they don't have to go through as much red tape
Exactly.
to get things done.
They don't have like these layers of bureaucracy.
Right. It's like a small business. They can make decisions quickly.
Exactly.
Okay. I like it.
And those early wins,
Yeah.
even if they're not like massive billion-dollar exits,
Right.
they're still so important
Why is that?
because they build confidence
Okay.
in the ecosystem.
It shows people that it's possible.
It shows that these emerging markets
Right.
can be profitable,
Okay.
that this is a good place
Not just a gamble.
to put your money.
Okay.
And when you have those early wins,
Mm-hmm.
it creates this positive feedback loop
Okay. How so?
because then it encourages more investment,
Right.
which fuels more growth.
Yeah. More money, more problems, as they say.
That's right. And it just kind of builds on itself.
And that's how you create a sustainable ecosystem
Exactly. And that's how
Yeah.
you build something that's really going to last.
long term.
Long term, exactly.
Okay.
And speaking of early wins,
Yeah.
Wilson actually highlights some really great examples in the article.
Oh, really? Of these emerging fund managers?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he mentions angel groups like Allied Venture Partners
Okay.
and Startup TNT,
Mm-hmm.
which are creating these vital connections
Right. Bringing people together.
between investors
Yeah.
and these really promising startups.
Okay. I like it.
And then he also points to some emerging VC funds
Okay.
like WeVC,
Mm.
Tallgrass Ventures,
Okay.
and Matiquity Ventures
Interesting.
as prime examples of this strategy in action.
Okay. So these are all firms that are focusing on this idea of finding the diamonds in the rough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're out there.
They're making it happen.
And it's not just, about trying to find that one unicorn company.
Right.
It's about, building that base.
It's about the ecosystem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like he's saying, instead of trying to turn everyone into a seasoned angel investor overnight.
Right. Because that's not realistic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's create more ways for people to participate.
More on-ramps.
Yeah.
I like
Get
it.
ways for people to learn and get involved.
Yeah, and kind of dip their toes in without having to, bet the farm.
Exactly.
Or,
So it's not about replacing direct angel investing.
right.
It's about, adding tools to the tool belt.
Diversifying. Yeah, I like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about empowering those who already have the passion and the knowledge.
Right. They're the experts.
They are to guide those who have the capital, but maybe not the know-how.
Right. They just need a little direction.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's where Wilson leaves us with this really powerful call to action.
Okay. What's that?
He says we need to kind of shift the focus
Okay.
of how we educate people
Okay. Interesting.
about angel investing.
So not just the basics.
Not just the mechanics of it,
Yeah.
but like how to actually be good at it.
How to pick winners.
How to evaluate these opportunities.
Okay.
Because right now there aren't a lot of resources out there.
To teach you how to do that.
Yeah, like if you want to learn how to, analyze a balance sheet,
Right.
there's tons of resources for that.
You can go to school for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you want to learn how to evaluate an emerging fund manager.
Right. Is this the right fund manager for me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a little bit trickier.
Yeah. Where do you even start?
So he's saying we need to bridge that knowledge gap.
I agree.
Because if we can do that,
Yeah.
think about all the
What's
possibilities.
the limit?
It could be huge,
Yeah.
not just for individual startups,
Yeah.
but for the entire ecosystem.
The whole pie gets bigger.
Exactly.
Everybody wins.
And it just becomes this like self-perpetuating cycle of growth.
I love that. And it all comes back to education.
It does.
Empowering people with knowledge. That's what it's all about.
So yeah, it's a really fascinating article.
It sounds like it.
I think this is a really important conversation to be having
I agree.
because it's not just about, making money.
Right.
It's about fostering innovation.
It's about supporting the dreamers.
It's about creating jobs.
It's about building a better future.
Exactly.
I love it.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive
Yeah, this was great.
into the world of angel investing and emerging ecosystems.
I learned a lot.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you all next time.